Okay, keep her coming.
You okay?
Send me down the computer.
My name is Richard Lieberman. I am the scientist in charge of, I was the scientist in charge of Yellowstone Volcano Observatory. I'm not sure what day it is, and I'm not precisely sure if the eruption is over. I'm trapped here in some kind of military installation in some godforsaken part of Colorado. We've got no food, and we've got no power, and the ashfall has contaminated the water supply. The air is so thick with it that we can barely breathe. These men that I'm with, they think if we stay put that we're going to be rescued. But I honest to God believe if we just watch and wait, we're as good as dead.
Before it all happened, many visitors to Yellowstone were blissfully unaware that it was volcanic. After all, where was the cone-shaped volcano, like Mount St. Helens or Vesuvius? They didn't realize that they were actually standing on top of it, that beneath their feet was one of the largest volcanoes in the world. The truth is, we were only just beginning to understand the workings of the park ourselves. And Virgil, the virtual geophysical imaging laboratory, well, that was going to help us. Or at least, that's what our boss, Michael Eldridge, tried to persuade the press.
With it, we can input data from seismometers, GPS instruments, and video cameras strategically positioned around the park to produce a living, breathing 3D model of what's happening here at Yellowstone. Virgil can also help us to understand the park's beating heart. The vast reservoir of red-hot molten rock that lies just a few kilometers beneath where you're sitting now. The sleeping dragon that powers all of the geysers and hot springs, mud spots and steam vents that draw people here in their millions every year.
You see those colors around the edges?
Yeah.
They're creatures.
Creatures?
Tiny, tiny creatures called thermophiles. You can only see them with a microscope, and they can only live in very, very hot water like this. In fact, some scientists believe that all life on Earth began in places just like this 3.5 billion years ago.
Billion?
Maggie Chin, KCVZ News, Salt Lake City.
Hello.
Hello. Your model is very impressive, sir.
Thank you, Miss Chin.
My question is, will it help?
Help what, Miss Chin?
Well, in the last decade, we've seen more and more ground uplift at Yellowstone. 12 feet, I believe, is the conservative estimate.
Well, that estimate is not conservative.
Nonetheless, many of your colleagues in the scientific community believe that it's one of many signs that an eruption is coming.
I'm going to let Rick Lieberman, scientist in charge of the Yellowstone Volcano Observatory, deal with that one. Rick?
Thank you. This is a sequence of Yellowstone's geological behavior over the past 100 years. Okay, there we go. You see, what we have beneath our feet here at Yellowstone is a type of volcano, a type of hidden volcano, referred to as a restless caldera. Caldera because you'll note it resembles the shape of a cauldron, and restless because it spends much of its life doing what you see it's doing right here. It's huffing and puffing as the magma and the hydrothermal systems beneath the ground rise and fall for reasons that we actually don't fully yet understand. This uplift that you've mentioned, Maggie, is very simply just a part of everyday life here at Yellowstone.
So we're definitely not looking at an imminent super eruption.
Let me say this. The chances of a so-called super eruption are on the order of something like 1 in 600,000. In fact, it's more than twice as likely that an airplane will crash into your backyard. So,
Haven't we just seen extra ground uplift at Norris?
yes, yeah, we have, as a matter of fact, but that may well be hydrothermal. A buildup of water. I'll tell you what, Miss Chin, you give me $10 right now, and I will offer you odds of 600,000 to 1. So if this thing does go up, you'd make a killing. Okay.
That doesn't mean you see it. Accept it.
I'm not saying you do. Hey, how are you?
Hey.
so faithful.
Hey, William.
Great.
Look, as Eldridge said, it is a tool.
Oh, come on, it's unreliable.
We're not relying on it.
Hey, what was that? What was that?
That was a press conference.
That was a joke.
We were unveiling Virgil. What did you want me to say? Hello, everyone, this is Virgil, and it frankly has no more of an idea of what's going on down there than we do, but thank you for coming. Buckle up.
Matt, you check out the busted seismometers.
I'll get there tomorrow.
Good. Here's the point. We could have replaced all of those seismometers for the money spent on Virgil. That's the point.
Yeah, listen, Big V will have its uses. I'll see you soon.
Good to see you, man.
See you, pal.
Listen, I need the coordinates of the Taiwan quake. Yep. Kaohsiung region. Yeah. Hey. 5-7. Yep. 3-3. Okay.
This thing takes up far too much space,
Hey. Thanks, Matt.
Guess what this is?
You tell me.
Pumice. It comes from deep inside a volcano. It's so hot the rocks all melted. But when the volcano blows up, it gets blown high into the sky. And guess what? It floats.
Oh, it does.
My coffee.
How wonderful is that? A rock that floats.
Yeah, okay, pal. That's enough.
Hey, I found out about flights. They said it's fine at 7 months.
Oh, come on, Fee.
Honey, we just flew to Yellowstone back.
Yeah, I know, but that way you were with me, and B, you weren't in the air for like 11 hours.
And then I don't get to see my mum this side of Christmas, do I? What is it?
Shit, we got a quake.
What?
I'll call you. I'll see you guys soon.
This is Matt.
What's the damage?
Well, some broken glass for sure, nothing major.
Okay, what do we got?
Be in touch. 6.9. 10 kilometers beneath the South Arm Fork.
Okay, I'm running a simulation. 6.9 at what?
10 kilometers beneath the South Arm Fork.
That's confirmed, 6.9. Standing by for more data.
Give me the webcam images of the fishing bridge area. Over, say the last 5 minutes. Whoa, go back. Manny needs to get to the other end of the lake.
Where are you gonna be?
I'm gonna be in my office.
Fortunately, due to the remoteness of the area, damage was limited. But tragically, 9 bodies have been recovered so far, 3 of them children. All from the fishing bridge area of the park. As well, 43 people have been taken to hospital with various injuries, some of them life-threatening. I'm going to hand you over now to Mr. Rick Lieberman of the USGS, then we'll take some questions. Rick?
The earthquake, a 6.9 on the Richter scale, occurred at 12:13 local time, centered at a depth of 10 kilometers beneath Mount Sheridan, at the southern end of Lake Yellowstone. The earthquake triggered a landslide off the South Arm Fork, which in turn caused a tsunami wave to hit the northern shore here a few minutes later. All indicators suggest that this quake was not volcanic, but was tectonic in its nature, caused by a grinding together of the Earth's plates along a known fault line. The pattern of aftershocks of decreasing magnitude is consistent with this type of seismic activity. Any questions?
Is it true Old Faithful is stopped?
Yes, that is true. However, ground movement can both block and unblock hydrothermal features.
Has there been any effect on the uplift at Norris?
No, not that we've seen at all, no.
Are you still sure that there isn't going to be an eruption, Mr. Lieberman?
As I've said, Miss Chin, this earthquake was not caused by volcanic activity, as far as we know. We are increasing our alert status to yellow, which, as you know, does mean watch. Yeah.
Does that mean you're not ruling out an eruption?
Look, Miss Chen, Yellowstone has sometimes as many as 3,000 earthquakes every year. None of them followed by eruptions. Now, everything points to this being a one-off tragic accident.
The truth? We had the Hebgen Lake earthquake in 1959, a couple of miles from Yellowstone. 7.5 in the Richter scale. Massive landslide, 29 dead. And it didn't indicate a damn thing. Again in 1975. Mag 6, it didn't either. I mean, hell, I'm a politician, not a scientist. The USGS guys tell me it's another Hebgen Lake. I gotta take their word for it. You know? You go on the available facts. Problem was that with a place the size of Yellowstone, we didn't have all the available facts.
North Dakota goes there.
Yellowstone so much.
So South Dakota.
Noted geophysicist Dr. Kenneth Wiley. His new book, Super Bangs, deals directly with phenomena similar to those we've seen in recent days at Yellowstone. The book carries with it some dire warnings about the consequences of ignoring this.
Richard Lieberman, YVO.
Hey, it's me. You better take a look at KCVZ News.
I will do that, thank you. I'll call you back.
I think we have good reason to be concerned.
Maggie, I think that we ought to make a clear distinction between a regular volcanic eruption and a steam eruption. Mount St. Helens was the most violent eruption in American history, killed 57 people, and it erupted about 1 cubic kilometer of volcanic ash.
Watching
rock.
the great man, huh?
Now let's say that this cube here represents the amount of volcanic material ejected by Mount St. Helens. Now in volcanic terms, it's a tiddler. Krakatoa,
Tiddler.
the Indonesian volcano that erupted in 1883, was 17 times larger than Mount St. Helens, killed 36,000 people, and it's represented by this cube here. Finally, we have this. This is 2,500 times the size of Mount St. Helens. This is a supervolcano. This is currently sitting underneath the ground at Yellowstone Park.
And when was the last time one of these super eruptions happened?
About 74,000 years ago, in a place called Toba, on the other side of the world, Sumatra, Now, the volcanic eruption there was so vast, it created a volcanic winter, plunged the world into darkness, and all but wiped out the human race.
Missed one, though, didn't it?
And Yellowstone has produced eruptions on this sort of scale before?
Oh, yes. 3 times in the last 2 million years.
And you think that the activity that we're seeing there right now may indicate that it's about to happen for a 4th time?
Oh, God. Yes, I do believe that these events are cyclical. 3 caldera-forming eruptions in the last 2.1 million years means, on average, 1 eruption every 600,000 years. And we haven't had an eruption like that at Yellowstone for 640,000 years now.
In other words, we're overdue.
No. Yes, I believe that we're overdue.
Jeez.
I believe that the warning signs are there, if you care to read them.
Thank you, Dr. Wiley.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Wiley.
God. I know he's your brother-in-law, Rick, but the guy's a total numpty.
That's not a good thing, right?
No, that's not good, no. We were trying to monitor something so vast that it was almost incomprehensible. The park itself is over 2 million acres, and somewhere within that was the volcano. But for the longest time, we couldn't figure out where. Then in the 80s, NASA took some aerial photographs of the park, and these photographs revealed the volcanic crater for the first time. It turns out we'd been looking on the wrong scale. This crater measured 85 kilometers by 45, big enough to hold the largest city in the world, Tokyo. Population 18 million.
Yes, I did see Mr. Wiley on the television. No. Approximately every 600,000 years, sir. I mean, with a conservative margin of error, we could be up by 100.
And I'm telling you, sir, we're not hiding anything, all right? Everything we know is out on our website.
How's it looking, Matt?
It's looking good, normal. I'd like to make a couple more passes, though.
Sure, no problem.
No, sir, no. Sir, I'm afraid that drilling down to try to siphon off the magma wouldn't work. No. In fact, it could probably cause the whole thing to go off.
Yeah, I don't like that. Can we get down there?
It's all true. This thing's ready to blow in a matter of, well, days, if not hours, and absolutely everybody is going to die horribly. You're welcome, Your Holiness.
Nice.
CO2 levels are good up here. It must be ground level CO2 that's killing those trees.
Yeah, looks like those trees are dying.
Is there or is there not a magma chamber underneath Yellowstone National Park?
Yes, Kenneth.
Yes. And is this magma chamber of sufficient size that if there was an eruption there, it could potentially be rated as a super eruption?
Exactly.
Well, I'm not saying that there will. I'm saying that there's a chance.
No, what you said on television was overdue. You know that's what you said. Overdue, you said.
Caught up in the moment, I expect.
Well, you and a few million other people, I guess.
Hey, let's not do
No, sis, I have a legitimate scientific viewpoint. He thinks he's the...
Have you ever actually been to Yellowstone?
It's not necessary.
No.
Your excellent website provides all the data. I just interpret.
Oh, you misinterpret. That's what you do.
Can we not do this now, please?
Look, all I'm saying is you do not go on television and create a mass panic over one potential scenario just in order to sell a book.
Oh, come on. You don't go on television and tell everybody that everything's going to be just fine when you know damn well it might not be.
Kenneth?
No, but just...
No! Both of you. I said not now. I'm sick of this. Do you have nothing else? You haven't seen your nephew in over a year.
Sorry. Hello, Will. How's school?
Seamless.
Sorry.
When I first met Rick, he was a geology student, part of a team studying Yellowstone Lake. They discovered this enormous 2,000-foot-long bulge beneath the lake. And got very excited about it. And the press got hold of the story and convinced a lot of people that Yellowstone was going to blow. It created this huge panic. And then nothing happened. Made Rick very cautious about what he said in public. And when he got the job as scientist in charge, people paid even more attention to what he said.
So it's a boy, right?
Little boy dragon.
Huh.
And with a new feature.
Show me.
Some sort of anomaly above the magma chamber just below Firehole Creek Basin.
Yeah.
Could be water or gas.
An intrusion of magma through a fault line opened up by the quake, right? Yeah, impossible to tell until we get a clear image. Oh, thanks.
We're still processing all the data from the KOS Sunquake.
Oh, God, that was days ago.
Yeah, I know.
Listen, Matt's found a section of dead pine to the northeast of Sour Creek.
You got a visitor.
Hang on. Northeast of Sour Creek Dome, along a ring fracture of the caldera rim.
CO2 or heat?
CO2, suffocating the roots.
The magma's only 2 to 3 kilometers deep at that point.
Yeah, or less if it's rising. All right, so who is it?
Wendy something from FEMA.
Wendy Rice? The undersecretary in charge of the Federal Emergency Management Agency is here. You told her to wait in my office. You're fired, Dave.
You can't fire me.
Yeah, you're lucky that's true.
I'm sorry.
Ms. Rice. You've caught me off guard.
Sorry.
I'm Richard Lieberman.
Yes, Rick, I recognize you from the television.
Oh.
Just call me Wendy.
Thanks. Well, sorry about the mess, Wendy.
No problem.
It's been a busy couple of days. Please sit down.
Yeah, I'm just going to cut to the chase, Rick. I want to know if we should be worried about this.
Based on the data that we're getting, yes, there are indicators that there could be an eruption. Or it could be business as usual at Yellowstone. Now, if there is an eruption, then there is a good possibility that it's going to be a moderate one.
This isn't enough, Rick. If there's even the slightest chance of this happening, I want to know what that means. I want to know what we can do about it.
How much do you know about super eruptions?
Put super in front of eruption, I don't imagine it means better.
Can I show you something?
Please.
Okay. See, the magma chamber that sits underneath Yellowstone? Well, here. We think it's roughly the same dimensions as the caldera rim itself. We think it's around 40 kilometers wide by 80 kilometers long and around 8 kilometers deep.
You think?
Yeah, it's a very difficult thing to get a clear picture of. In fact, the only way to even attempt to see a magma chamber is, ironically enough, by relying on earthquakes. Have a seat, please.
Thank you.
It's called seismic tomography. What we do is we plant an array of seismographs throughout the park, and then when an earthquake occurs, the seismic shock waves from these events travel through the earth. Now, these waves move slightly slower through the molten rock than through the solid rock. So we can use these slight differences in arrival time here at the seismometers to begin to calculate and plot the rough dimensions of the chamber. It's kind of like sonar.
And that tells you how much magma is down there.
Well, what we're trying to determine essentially is the nature of this magma. Is it eruptible magma? Is it too viscous? Is it too sticky to go anywhere? Or is it molten enough? Is it liquid enough that it can escape? You know, we also want to know how it's situated in the chamber. Is it kind of spread out in individual pods or pockets throughout the chamber? Or, and this is what we don't want, is it accumulated in one place, sufficient enough that it could trigger a super eruption?
Okay, let's talk worst case scenario.
Okay, well, we have run some projections based on the first super eruption at Yellowstone 2.1 million years ago, essentially because this is the one we have the most data available on. Now, if the next one were to behave in a similar way, then we would be looking at between 2,000 and 3,000 cubic kilometers of rock, gas, and ash erupting across the United States in a pattern that looks like this. Zone 1 represents a 100-kilometer radius around Yellowstone. Basically everything in this area would be completely wiped out by pyroclastic flows.
That's the rock and ash that spills from the side of an eruptive column.
That is a pyroclastic flow. These surges can travel up to 700 kilometers an hour. So, yeah, these journalists were very, very lucky. Yeah, this woman was caught at the edge of a pyroclastic flow. You see, these surges can reach up to 800 degrees Celsius. Anyway, yeah, that's what happens to anyone that's within the first 100-kilometer radius of the volcano. Now, out here in zones 2 and 3, virtually everyone and everything in these two areas will be trapped by extremely heavy ashfall.
That's roughly 3 million people.
Yeah. And here out in zone 4, we're talking about ashfall of around 15 centimeters. Now, 15 centimeters, that doesn't sound like a lot, but you add rain to 15 centimeters of volcanic ash, and that is certainly enough to collapse a roof. And then, you know, in zone 5, it gets down to around 5 centimeters of ashfall. This is a huge area covering most of the grasslands. Any animals that happen to be grazing there. And that's also the grain belt, of course, so that's all the food gone. And then zone 6, we tail down to around a centimeter of ash extending out to the eastern seaboard.
Centimeter. I read it takes just 1 millimeter to close an airport.
Yeah. See, the thing that people don't understand about volcanic ash is it's not like ash from your backyard barbecue. It's rock. It's abrasive, it's pervasive, it's destructive, it shorts out electrical equipment, it clogs machinery, you name it. And it's also extremely tiny. It's 100 microns across. It's so tiny you can inhale it, and when you do, it combines with the moisture in your lungs and forms a cement-like mixture. You essentially drown in what's basically liquid concrete, so.